What's going on, guys? It is Tucker here, recovering from a cold, and well, this video is for new zombie players. So if you are new to zombies and you want to know what everything's all about, the first thing you got to know about is the perks, what they do. So yeah, this video is all of the perks and what they do. So if you guys didn't see our last video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the video. Alright, so this is one of my favorite perks, and it's called Widow's Wine. And what it does is, when you get hit by a zombie, webs will tangle around a horde of zombies that you are in. So I think this is a very helpful perk. And it's one of my favorite perks, I gotta be honest. It's really good. So yeah, I recommend getting this in Revelations and Shadows of Evil from Black Ops 3, and you'll be on your way. Okay, our next perk we got is Vulture Aid. Is the only perk from Buried that is brand new. So, what Vulture Aid does, so if you kill a zombie, green mist will spawn, and if you stand in that green mist, the zombies will ignore you for a certain amount of time until the mist goes away. I think Vulture Aid is also a really protective perk. Well, not really protective, but useful. But once we get onto the perks coming up soon, then you'll realize how good they are. But Vulture Aid is probably one of the best out of them. Okay, so coming up in our next perk is Juggernog. My favorite perk of all time. And what Jug does, what it does is that it'll give you 3 extra hits from zombies. So it's basically like it's kind of like the perk named Quick Revive, which you'll know about later. It's kind of like that, but instead you get extra lives. And it's my favorite perk, but in some maps it has the worst spots in areas. But my favorite spot is the one in Buried. You can just literally camp there. You don't even have to aim. But moving on. Alright, coming in the next perk is Double Tap 1.0. And what this does is that it increases your fire rate. And I feel bad about this perk, to be honest. Double Tap 1 sucks. Sucks dong. I just want to say that right now. But, yeah, so it increases your fire rate, but it doesn't really do anything else. All it does is just increase your fire rate. That's not helpful. Even on zombies, you know? Okay, coming up under next Double Tap is Double Tap 2.0. Now, this one is for every bullet fired, it'll fire 2 at a time. But, it will not take 2 out of your ammo count that you're using, but it will just like, it's like a bullet splitting in half. Just put that in an instance. A bullet splitting in half, nailing the zombie. It will give you like almost a maximum amount of points. It's very useful. Okay, now the next perk is Electric Cherry, and this perk is only on Mob of the Dead from Black Ops 2, but you can get it from Wonder Spheres in Origins, Der Eisendrache, and Revelations. But, so what Electric Cherry does is that when you reload your gun, it'll literally save you by firing electric shock charges around you, and it will electrocute the zombies until death. Now, I love Electric Cherry. I'm going to give this an honorable mention for my next top 5 video. Yeah, foreshadowing. Top 5 best perks. Okay, coming up in our next perk is Stamin-Up, and I really love this perk so much. What it does is that it gives you extra time to sprint, and I really think it's very, very good for training if you think about it. Stamin-Up, it's like, it helps you a lot. It like helps you run away from zombies, because everybody needs to know how to run away from things. Like a shark, or a killer whale, or any zombie, like a panzer or whatever. But, yeah, it's really helpful. Okay, coming up in our next perk is my boy, Speed Cola. Now, what this guy does is that you can reload faster, and you can rebuild barriers faster. Yeah, he's my boy, Speed Cola. It just gives you a quicker amount of time because, you know, it's called Speed Cola because, you know, Speed Cola gets you faster. But Speed Cola Light, man, seriously. Speed Cola is like one of the best perks in Zombies history, but it's not gonna be in my list of top 5 best perks. Okay, next perk, we got Quick Revive. Now, I love this perk. But it's not on my list. It's going to be an honorable mention. So, in solo, it revives yourself. It only takes a couple seconds to let the zombies just get away from you, and it'll revive you. In multiplayer, it'll revive players faster. So, and it kind of sucks. It really, really sucks. In multiplayer, but in solo, it's very, very useful for like speed runs and stuff, like world records and whatnot. But yeah, technically. Okay, now we're getting to one of the worst perks. Coming up in our next perk is the perk from Die Rise, and it's called Who's Who. I wouldn't really consider this a perk, but it's an anti-perk. So, it's kind of useful if you think about it, but when you die, you respawn with the pistol in ghost mode, and you have to revive your other player just to get your stuff back. How is that fair? The zombies still come after you. That's just very, very unfair. Okay, coming up in our next perk is PhD Flopper, and I gotta admit, this is one of my favorite perks of all time. Now, when you dolphin dive, it'll create a lethal explosion, and along with that, like, say if you have a ray gun, a Mustang and Sally, or a missile launcher, RPG, whatever, and whatnot, but if you shoot it at yourself and you just feel like dying, you can't die, because there's no splash damage when you have this perk. It is very, very useful for, like, I don't know, training? Coming up in our next perk list is Deadshot Daiquiri, and I can really say that this is another anti-perk. Now, I hate Deadshot. Please don't tell YouTuber too pro for your games, but I hate Deadshot. Everybody hates Deadshot. What Deadshot does is that when you aim at a zombie, it'll aim directly at the head. But what else does it do? I don't know. Nobody knows, really. It doesn't do anything. Alright, coming up in our next perk is the perk Mule Kick. And I can really say that this is going to be on a worse list because it's not really that useful. But it's kind of useful to me, though. But not to the community. So what Mule Kick does, it'll give you a third gun slot. And which I think is pretty useful. But when you die, you lose that gun. Or, in some cases, you'll lose the gun that you first got. So, how is that fair? Like, Mule Kick is not really a good perk. Literally. Okay, coming up in our last perk, it is Tombstone Soda. And I can really say that this is a perk that will technically ruin your life for the people who brought you transit. Now, when you bleed out, a power-up will spawn for you. And, like when you're in the bleed out section, it will say don't feed to the zombies. You have to hold X or square if you're on PlayStation, and if you hold it, you will automatically die. And when you respawn, that tombstone power up, you have to collect it, and you will get everything back. But what I hate about this perk is you really can't really do anything, because your teammate will think you're so dumb because you have tombstone. But when they realize you have the tombstone, they're like, oh no, they're just kidding. No, that's not how zombies goes.